Eric, look at you.
Had to make a small adjustment, get that lightning bolt there. Anyway,
Oh, I think that lightning bolt is incredible. Welcome to the show, to the Quick
thank you.
Gains Show.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, everybody who's tuning in today, I'm Jason Taves, the co-founder, head of product over here at Quick, and I'm so excited to have you on the show today, Eric. Everybody calls you Dids, and I know that there's got to be a story behind that nickname. I would love for you to share with our audience just kind of your story into the world of video and how you got the nickname Dids.
Yeah, so I'll start with the nickname. I actually kind of feel slightly bad. It was my dad's, but so growing up in high school, he played a lot of high school sports, and Dids is kind of a short of the last name Didier, so he just kind of got it, and I was like, oh, okay, that's my thing now. And and as he grew up, it kind of slipped past him, and then he mentioned it to me once. I'm like, oh, well, I'm gonna take it over. I guess I'll continue on, carry the reins forward, if you will. And I guess it just stuck, and ever since it's been, it's one of those things. You as you're growing into your branding and you're starting to produce video content, you're thinking, well, what do I want to be known as? What do I want people to call me? And I just thought, Dids is short, it's sweet, it's me, it's not niche. I'm not, Dids the video, it's not Eric the video guy. It's, it's very, I do Twitch streams, I do, tech video, whatever. So it's broad, it's niche, it's me, it's perfect. And I think it's a good fit. But getting into the video side, I mean, for me, it was just a beautiful thing, because I bought a camera initially wanting to be like the next PewDiePie. Back when Machinima was like Cnanners, Hutch, and Sark, I wanted to be like on their team and do all this. And then I'm realizing I'm not that good, and my camera doesn't have autofocus, Canon T3i, everybody's first camera sort of thing. And
oh my gosh,
just starting to see those things and just kind of step back a little bit from that, but then realize it takes photos, and really got big into taking photography and grew into a lot of professional situations through Major League of Gaming, through big companies in the esports space that way, taking pictures. And still to this day, take a picture of a random thing and get a company to say, hey, can we use this photo? And then, my natural sales side steps in and says, well, let's talk further. Let me do this for you guys more, because I like it and I want to work with you guys. So just, working in that sense and just doing, I think, that says a lot about what a lot of people I would give as advice, is just do.
Yeah. Well, I think there's so much there to unpack, and it's really cool to hear how your story started with this movement, this action, right? Like, as you call it, doing, because there's a lot of opportunities that open up when you create something that you didn't necessarily create to immediately monetize, if that makes sense.
No, that's true too.
And I loved I think it was one of your recent LinkedIn posts. You guys had talked about a fitness video that you had just done. I'd love for you to talk about kind of what does that look like to create something without the expectation of a monetary gain right out of the gate from it.
Yeah, I mean, I for years have seen like videos of these guys with big heavy gimbals and on treadmills running, and I had to go to my business partner's house for some other stuff, and I'm like, what, like I have a treadmill, he didn't, like, but let's just do something weird, funny, and out of the box. I see these videos and they do well, and they do really well and get shared a lot, but like I was thinking, like I enjoy bringing the comedy or the reality in some cases of real life situations that I experience every day, and putting them onto videos so that other people that also experience them on a daily basis can laugh along and say, oh yeah, I totally get this. Like, that's the point of social media. And like, it's hard to say that there wasn't, like, I knew that the video would do well, but I didn't think it would do that well. And I really didn't care if it did or didn't, because for us, it was like, we just had fun. Like, we got some really funny angles. The last shot, like the camera was facing up at my business partner, Justin, and just the way that we had like leaned the camera against like our phones, and I had to stick a Carmex under there, and like just stuff like that, where it's like, we wanted to take the time to just do something funny that was very low budget. We shot the entire thing in about an hour. I edited it in probably 10 minutes, and it did really well. But like for us, it was just something fun that we wanted to do, and we had the idea kind of floating around the back of our heads, and we finally just kind of connected a lot of dots of like, okay, I can bring my C-stand pole and I can put some sandbags on, do some, we just like, we're talking and these ideas just kind of came together and we're like, all right, like we're just going to do it now. So
let's just shoot it. Well, and that is such a testimony of how video production's changed even in the last 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
It's so much more built around the action of just pulling out a camera, whether it's on your phone or if you've got a specialty DSLR that you've got ready to roll, and capturing the moment.
Yeah.
Now, if we rewind a little bit, because I think that there's a really interesting point here. You first got started in video how? I mean, I know the story, but maybe our audience doesn't. Yeah,
so I guess we'll rewind a little bit less than the very beginning because that's not really an interesting story. But for LinkedIn specifically, my old business partner at the time said, I want you to create a LinkedIn video. It was right when LinkedIn video had first scratched the surface of existing. And I'm like, but it's a business professionals network. Like, I'm not really there. What do I talk about? And he's like, just introduce yourself. I'm like, all right. So he was with me in it, and we went and talked, and he asked me a question, and we posted it, and it overnight had reached like 150 likes, 50 comments, and like 5,000 views. And I'm like, whoa, because I'm used to YouTube. I wake up and I have 10 views. I'm happy. Here I'm on LinkedIn on a network where I have no presence, and immediately overnight I have 5,000 views. I'm like, okay, there's maybe something to this. So made another one the next day, then another one the next day. And then I had a couple days off. So then I like bulk recorded like 10. And then I had like the next 10 days. And I ended up doing 90 days straight of video. And I think it was a really cool experience to be able to, I knew the production side, and that wasn't anything to me, but learning the new platform, the business professional, it's not really necessary. Anybody can be on LinkedIn. You don't have to be anything special or have this big high salary. You can just hop on and start posting. And I think that was, a big part of what he taught me and got me really started on the right foot to be in a position where I am today.
So do you feel like there was just a mental barrier to what you expected that audience to be in LinkedIn, and that was kind of almost preventing you from uploading the type of content that you thought would be really valuable?
I think a little bit. Like, I was thinking of LinkedIn as a resume platform where you go and you put your resume, you connect with people, and you get a job. But now and back then it kind of was, but now it's moving into more of a social networking platform and a place where everybody can come and build professional networks and have backdoors to hire companies and positions that you wouldn't otherwise probably have. And I think that once I kind of realized that, and then I thought, well, I like to produce videos to help show people that they can do the same thing that I'm doing with or without the equipment that I have. So then once I got into that space, then a whole wave of people had some confidence to say, okay, well, I'm going to start doing this too. The reach is incredible. I can get a whole bunch of connections, a whole bunch of networking done, and meet a whole bunch of people. And a lot of people have been able to advance their careers. And, we've been responsible for hundreds of thousands of dollars of business because we've gotten people onto the platform. So it's a cool thing to be able to say.
Yeah, no, it's incredible to see just how that transition happens so quickly when you create valuable content. And especially in a space where I'm sure there's nuance between creating content from a video production side between YouTube or between LinkedIn, and in terms of how you engage with the audiences there. Have you seen that consistency plays more valuably to one platform over the other?
Yeah, I think all social media to an extent is kind of a snowball. If you roll it down the hill and you keep adding snow to where you're rolling, it's going to keep building. And then as you stop, friction sets in and it slowly decreases. But at the same time, it's not, I think a lot of people get discouraged because if they take a break or something, they feel like they can never get back on the bandwagon. And I think that's the lie. I think that's the lie that most people need to understand is not true, because it takes a bit, but you can always resume and then grow further. And I think, a lot of people need to know that it's important to take those breaks. And if you get busy, like, let life happen. If you don't post today, it's not the end of the world. It will be there tomorrow. The sun will rise tomorrow.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about that. What does it feel like as a creator who's pushing out content 90 days in a row? You get to day 90 and you're not pushing out a piece tomorrow. At that moment, what's going through your head? How do you overcome this lie that is, if you stop creating content, you'll lose everything?
Yeah, I think for me it was, I knew well enough in advance that road was going to come to an end. Life became busy. Business was starting. I was focusing on other things, and I knew that, I don't want to say that my well of ideas was running dry, because I think that's also a concern for a lot of people. But I think for me, it was just, I was getting to a place where what I wanted to achieve was then now, my goal wasn't as much to build the presence as much as it was to deliver the information. So for me, I wanted to make sure that now my focus wasn't just putting a piece out so I can get more traction, but then my focus was, now I have these people that I have rapport with. They do trust my opinion, my thoughts, what I do. Now I want to deliver to them the right content. And that doesn't say that I wasn't producing the right content in those 9 days. It got me those people, but I wanted to make sure that now I was really delivering the message that I was here to deliver, and not just do this because it was the hot thing. And it worked out really well, because it was like day 87, where I was like, I had those last 3 videos minus like a send-off video pretty much done. And I'm like, all right, now I'm going to work on what's next. And I think that's, if you tell people what you're doing, it's going to work. Twitch streaming, if you have a schedule, people are going to show up because they know what to expect you. If you don't, it's hard for them to know. So if you tell people what you're doing, it works out a lot better in the end.
So LinkedIn to Twitch, there's a big difference in that demographic. What has been your core root hook to esports and gaming, and what's been the most fun thing that you've been able to do within that space?
Yeah, I think the most fun thing that I always like to say, and it's a bit of a humble brag, but I feel really proud about it. I had a viewer come into my chat once, and he's like, sorry, I haven't been to your streams lately. I've been diagnosed with leukemia. And I was like, dude, don't apologize. Geez, are you okay? What is going on with you? He's like, yeah, I gotta go with chemo. I'm gonna be fine. But so I'm like, what can we do as a community? I don't want to just sit here and just be not doing anything. So it worked out really well. He was in a hospital in Vancouver, and I want to say it was St. Jude. I forget if it was like a St. Jude or an Extra Life or something like that, but they had that hospital on their list of hospitals that they deliver the funds from gaming streams to. So yeah, I knew that. Now, granted, I'm not guaranteeing that's going to his room specifically or anything like that, but I knew that hospital would at least be directly affected by our efforts. So I was like, all right, we're gonna just do this. So we set up a 12-hour stream, and we raised, I think, like $1,750 or so. Ironically enough, this was back in the time where Five Nights at Freddy's was still really new and just taking off, and the creator came and donated $1,000, and it was just a really cool 12-hour stream. And he was like, I saw the impact of that donation, and we were able to get more stuff in our ward and whatnot. So luckily he's doing well today. He checks in every so often and just lets me know he's still alive and still kicking. But that's why I do what I do, to be able to actually make a difference.
Yeah. Well, and you think about the impact that just having that online community, I mean, especially with everything that 2020 threw us, the ability to connect and to reciprocate as much as possible this in-person interaction through video. Yeah. I think it's an incredible connection of humanity. And it's something that's very difficult, and I would even say impossible to replicate just with audio, or just
Right.
with, even in a written form, where video gives you a lot more nuance. Now, that can be the ugly morning Zoom call that you show up to because you haven't slept very well, or you're still in your pajamas, you haven't had your coffee yet, or that could be the polished documentary that you see rolling out on Netflix. But there's a real view of our humanity through video.
I think video is the one thing that I always laugh at is people will meet people for the first time in person. They're like, I feel like I already know you because I watch all your videos and I know who you are. I know the struggles you're going through. I know everything about you. And it's like, okay, that's like the one instance where you're like, this isn't creepy because I'm the one that's actively putting it out there. But it's cool to see like that reciprocation of like, I'm involved enough to know about you so that when that conversation happens, I'm able to skip the whole coffee, sit down for coffee and chat for 15, 30 minutes. That doesn't have to happen. We don't got to waste our time. You know me, sure. I know enough about you. Let's just get down to it.
So does that feel weird? I've always wondered, like, if you have, even if it's like 15% of your life and your story out on the internet in video, to where anybody could watch it, could learn what makes you tick, who you are, what things like excite you or inspire you, and you sit down with a stranger and it's like you're talking to a friend that you've known for ages and ages, but they're complete stranger. Like maybe you've never talked to them online before even. Right. What does that feel like?
I mean, I'm in, what do they say? I'm an extroverted introvert. So for me, it's great because I don't have to go through all of this social anxiety nonsense to have conversations. I'm there at a networking event, and whether I go up to people that I know from their content or they come up to me from my content, it's like, oh, we don't have this, icebreaker situation going on. We know each other and we can just have that conversation. And it helps, weed out the people that you want to talk to and those that you don't. And if there's something that, you can escalate to a more business conversation before you have that meeting, then you can just get right to business and make sure that both parties are getting everything that they need out of it. So I think it's a really good way to get yourself out there and just make a lot of connections.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think that 2020 threw a wrench in everybody's playbook, but I've seen some of the things that you posted on LinkedIn around some of the confidence videos and the work that you're doing for businesses. How has that gone? What are some of the things that you're taking into 2021, just strictly from your own business perspective? What's working? What are you excited about?
Yeah, so unfortunately, 2020 had the doors closed to one business, but all at the same time opening another. And I think that was a huge blessing because, now I've had this experience and, we slimmed down. It's just me and one other person now. And we're just doing essentially the same. From my perspective, I was a video guy and we were a video company. So for me, really not much has changed. I always joke with people, like our returning clients from our previous company. I just say the only difference is who you're signing the check to. Really, at the end of the day, that's the only difference. So for me, that's a blessing because I get to still do what I love every day. But a lot of work has gone into, now you have these companies and these people and individuals that are now getting back into normalcy, to say, and we want to make sure that they can successfully encourage their customers or their audience or whoever they're interacting with, that they feel safe returning to that place of business. And I think that that's really important. We've done a lot of work with school districts, specifically getting kids back in the doors, making sure that the parents have content that explains the cleaning procedures, what happens if we get a case, so on and so forth, that I think has been very successful for just giving, we call them confidence videos because it is just, we have the ability to produce content with these companies that says, okay, we have these policies in place. Let's make a video about it, send it to the right people. They have confidence sending their kids back to school, going back to shop at the store, whatever that looks like. And it's been pretty successful so far.
Well, and you just don't get that with, an email that goes out to the
Mhm.
parents. Here are our COVID-19 cleaning policies,
Right.
right? But when you see that school implementing those specific procedures, there's just a next level of comfort that
Yeah.
comes with that. So, no, I think it's a brilliant move for you guys to be driving that kind of content out there, because it does help us return back to, what does life look like when we don't have to be worried about the fear just surrounding everything.
Yeah.
And I think the confidence videos that I saw that and I thought, what a clever way to create content and to help businesses get back on their feet.
And it's interesting too, because it is right now, I would say, a very small part of what we do, but at the same time, it's something that I think if you get into a conversation with somebody and they're like, well, we're thinking about something, April, June, whatever, we can step in and say, well, what are your plans for the next couple months? Can we make a piece that encourages you to, have your customers feel safe enough to come back earlier? Do you have implementations? Because there's a lot of places now that are seeing better numbers and are able to open more and do more. And as that happens, people are going to just start going into doors because they can at this point, so it's, if we can help direct those people to the right places, then I think that a lot of businesses will see longer term success. And it shows people that, that business cares about them and not just their wallets. And I think that
Right.
if you can build that long-term trust rapport with your customers, I think you're going to have a lot of success once this all swings over.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is just the awareness now. I mean, the number of times I've walked down the street looking for even just a cafe to go in and grab a coffee, and you're like, well, what are their hours now? Like, have they changed that on Google Maps? Is that up to date? Are they open? I don't follow them on Instagram. Maybe I should go find their account. Like, yeah, I think there's a lot of just decision making that consumers are overwhelmed with as they get back out and as they start re-engaging a lot of these local businesses, that it's difficult unless they see exactly what is available and what that new normal looks like.
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting. So what are you excited about in 2021? Like, what does summer, fall of this year like really get you pumped for?
Yeah, so there's a lot of conversations that we're having about doing just a lot of fun stuff. I think for us, we want to do these pieces for our clients, but at the same time, we want to keep fun, creative ideas that inspire us open. And we've been blessed that almost all of our videos that we've produced have been videos that we've had creative direction on. And I think that that's where we get the most excited, because we can get people that come to us with an idea, and we want to make sure that we respect the fact that, like, okay, if this is their idea and they really want to see this through, like, we will definitely do that. But at the same time, if they're like, well, here's where we're at, what do you think? We're going to be like, all right, well, let's look at this through a lens in our heads and let's tell you exactly what's going to work and why it's going to work. So a lot of our shoots we've got when we're playing right now, it's going to be just incredible, because the concept is something that we've all had in our heads, both the clients and ourselves, for a long time now. And now it's one of those times where, we've tested it in small cases here and there, but now we really get to put it into a full production where we're excited to just get that out. And it's going to be a TV commercial spot. So we're going to be able to say, hey, have you seen that commercial? That was us. And it's going to be like one of those fun things where it's going to show a lot of people, I guess, what we really can do. And not even just from how it looks on the TV, but more so just how it comes together, I think is what a lot of people like to accidentally overlook just because they don't know. So, having then those conversations, say, okay, well, here's how we put that together, I think will help a lot. So I guess long way to answer that, but we're really excited to there's a lot of creative things on the horizon for us that will challenge us. Because I think sometimes, what I love about how we've set up our business is that we're not just doing one thing. We're not just doing talking head videos. We're not just shooting interviews. So for us, every day, every shoot is its own challenge. Last weekend we live streamed a 14, 15 hour dance competition. That was a huge step of uncomfortability for us because that's something that we knew how to do, but we've never actually done. So for us to have that experience now in our back pockets is really valuable. So for us to constantly have these challenges and figure out, okay, this is a dance competition, right? They have 2 angles, very plain Jane. But how can we set up maybe a camera for interviews, or how, then we say, okay, this is what you need. Now what can we add? Because that's what then, if we can give that input, then the client's going to be happy because we went the step further, and they're going to understand, they're not just doing what they're being asked of. They're inputting information that will help us have better success. So you build that trust, you build that rapport, everybody's happy. You get to challenge yourself and do more. That makes you look better, makes them look better. It's just a great situation. So really excited to take a lot of these creative ideas in our head and get them out to the world.
Yeah, and that's the beauty with video, is there's so many unique ways to be creative with producing the content, and it is a significant challenge many times to find that unique angle. Have you seen, I think it was actually on TikTok, maybe, there's a video that it was a group of guys, and they're at a cabin, and they were chopping wood and bringing it inside. There's a couple people drink, but they shot it all with a drone. And the drone is like flying around the guy chopping wood, and then it goes in the door with him, and then it shoots like around the table. And you think at some point they transition to like a handheld gimbal, but it's just one shot the whole way through, and it flies out the window and then goes, way up over the cabin. I mean, things like that are just, it blows me away how some people can.
I was just analyzing the other day. There's a shot in the movie The Contact. I think it's like a 90s movie, but it's like the most famous shot from a cinematography standpoint, because they follow a little girl up a hallway, and then all of a sudden it cuts, and while she's coming at you, she reaches and opens up like a medicine cabinet mirror in the bathroom. And just like the way that it's, because you're following her for like 15 seconds, then in a split second she's reaching out and opening. It's like, how did you get the camera? And you're in your head just like doing all of this. And I went frame by frame, and I found out I think what they did, I don't know for sure, because I don't know if they ever really like said it, but they did a darn good job on it. I mean, I think it was just like a hand reach, because you could see that like her hand wasn't flexed in certain places on the reach, but it was so close and so well done. And it's like the shot from the 90s. That's like, if you want to be a cinematographer and do some crazy stuff, like, look at that. And it's, fun to like on our downtime, like, oh man, like, how can we, it sounds stupid, but like I'm watching TV commercials, not as advertisements, but more as like, could I recreate that? If we were tasked to do that, could we do it? I'm looking at like, how did they do this shot? How did they do that shot? So now I'm like, I can't watch movies anymore. I can't watch commercials anymore, because I'm just like, how'd they get that? Or, oh, the lighting in that, I can't, I ruin everything.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that I could do the movie. Oh, what was it called? The one that got all of the jabs online of having the super shaky, like, camera. What was it? It's like the Monsters in Chicago or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I could do that one.
Yeah.
Run around with a phone and just we're all over the place.
Perfect.
So if there was like a dream project for you to work on, if there's one, world event, one thing that you could document or film, what would that dream project be for you?
That's a really good question. I don't think I've really thought too much about that, because I think like I said, for me to do so many different things, I enjoy the difference between projects. So there's a lot of things I do want to work on, but I guess like I can't say, I've got like this one dream client, because, we're respectful enough to ourselves to understand that there's steps to take before you just leap to the top step. So I guess that's kind of where my mind is at right now. But I mean, I think for us, we get to do, so we filmed one of my business partner's friends who just bought like a 2000 something Corvette. And we're like, well, let's just shoot like a car commercial, and that shows us our skill. It challenges us. And then we've had people that come to us for music videos, like, you know what sold me to you guys? That Corvette video. So it's like we
Wow.
do those things, you know, we call them just passion projects that we try to do one a month that challenges us in a different way and that we can then use as a selling point, build a reel on these things and challenge, you know, do a new concept or try something different that we're, you know, do we just invest in some new lights? All right, let's see how we can make a shot that's lit a certain way or something along those lines. Cause that's what then we can take to our clients and we know in the back of our heads that we can do this and we can sell it to them and say, hey, let's try and take this step up. You know, maybe it's not just talking headpiece. Maybe we can do this more doc style or whatever. So for us, it's doing those passion projects and saying, well, what the heck do we feel like having fun with this month? You know, are we watching something? Are we watching a lot of Mandalorian and something comes to our mind? You know, what is that thing that's bouncing at us and just keeps screaming in the back of our heads as we're trying to fall asleep at night? That's what we want to hit so that we can grow from it, learn from it, and use those to sell to larger clients down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we kind of explore like what each of those passion projects look like, is there a system or a process or maybe some tools that you guys use to make the consistency of actually creating one of those easier?
Yeah, so we use a software called Notion.
Okay.
And that is a godsend. It's like Monday, Trello, and all those board sites put together into one thing. We can put mood boards in it. We can design our own pages. We have essentially our entire business running through it. And it's just incredible because we can have all of our projects in it, all of our ideas in it. We can have our Instagram. All right, we want to post this on this day. Here's a calendar. Is it posted? Here's the photo. Here's the caption. You can just do it. You know, it's one of those things. Yeah. If you can think it, you can do it, sort of things. And for us, you know, we can keep track of everything and say, okay, if we have an idea that we want to develop further, let's put it in there. We're working on. We totally. It's cool because we have a passion project that we want to do like a World War II thing through, you know, different eyes and get reenactors and costumes and the whole nine. But we know that it's not happening. Like that's not something that we're just going to like ideate on and shoot that month. You know, we're going to take time because we're going to want summer shots. We're going to want winter shots. So it's going to be longer production, but at the same time, we can keep track of all those things. And as we even learn from between now and when we shoot it, we can implement those differences in and change things as we go. And yeah, I mean, I highly suggest Notion for everybody in the world, but
I love Notion. I run all of my own personal, like keeping track of headspace and some of the farming stuff that I still am interested in and do.
I use Notion for my grocery list, for goodness sakes.
Yeah. I don't know that I'm quite that integrated and deep into it, but it is a powerful tool.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, are you familiar with Airtable?
Yes.
It's like Airtable and Evernote had a baby.
Yes.
And a very like.
I mean, we build out our proposals we send out through Notion. Like, it's just incredible. It's so robust.
Yeah, and they've been around for longer than I thought they were. But
I only heard about them recently.
Yeah, it's like end of 2020 that I heard about them, I think.
Yeah.
So you use Notion. What are other things that really help as you guys build this production workflow that just make the consistency like easy?
I think it's just communication. I know it's not. I would say communication is a tool, and I would say it's the most valuable tool in any aspect of life. But for us, we communicate. We never leave anything on the table, whether we're on a shoot with a client. If there's something that went wrong, we let them know right away. If there's something that went really right, we let them know right away. You know, communicating between us so that we can say on set, you know, I have certain traits that I'm good at. I'm a very technical person. My business partner is more of a, he's just really good with the camera and does everything like that really well. But I'm really good at like fine tuning those little details with the audio and, you know, rotating the microphone so it's just right. So like we can get on a set and without planning out, okay, I do this, you do that, I do this, you do that. We can just do it because we communicate. And if there's something that we feel would be better one way or the other, we verbalize it to each other. Hey, what about this? What about that? Because if you just do it, you're going to get to that edit and you're going to be like, I don't know if I like it. I don't know if it fits right. So for us, just that communication is so key, and knowing that we have that rapport with each other, that there's never offense taken, because it's making the product at the end of the day better. So if I suggest something, he suggests something, it's never an attack. It's more of a, hey, I see what's presented in front of me, because obviously you can plan it so much, but when you're there shooting and you actually look through the lens, it's gonna look one way or the other. Maybe it looks totally different. Maybe it looks horrible compared to how you thought it would look. All right, well, what if we use a different lens, a different focal length? What if we rotate just bring it over here a little bit? You never know what's going to happen on set. So just never neglecting that communication, I think, is critical.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's something that we take for granted often when we have good communication. And then when you see a situation where communication starts to take a nosedive, it becomes very apparent that it's causing all sorts of problems. So communicate often and
over communicate
consistently. Yeah. Awesome. So as we kind of wrap up here, I'm really interested in getting some parting words of wisdom for somebody who's out there who might watch this someday and is just getting started picking up a camera, whether that's their phone or any other camera that they've got laying around. What would be your parting words of wisdom for them getting started and finding out who they are through the lens?
Yeah, I think the beautiful thing is everybody has a different creative sight. And I think that even if you aren't by trade somebody who operates a camera often, you naturally will find things in your environment that will work for you. So when I started, I didn't go out and buy a $300 keyboard because I want to take pictures of it to get, I said, what do I have in my environment? And let me do that. So whether that's you and you're on a walk, who are you as a person? Implement those things into that content, because then whether you're talking to somebody in business or recreational or whatever, people are going to know your interests, your hobbies, and I think you're going to be able to find naturally a lot more like-minded people through the content if you're just yourself. And I think it's hard because you want to put your best face forward, but at the same time, I made a video bawling my eyes out because I had to take my dad to chemotherapy. That people know what I'm going through and what I've been through now, and there's a different level of empathy toward conversations now that I have with people that have seen that video, because they'll first ask how he's doing. And that's important because now I know that they're invested as me and not just the engagement numbers that whether they're there or not.
Right. And do you have 3 short videos that you would encourage every beginner to just shoot?
Yeah, so the first one is always introduce yourself and ask people to tag 3 people that would be in this network. So I would say introduce yourself, what you do, what you're about. That could be just a simple, phone front facing, hey, here I am sort of thing, or it could involve your environment. But just do that first, get people to engage and tag 3 people and build your network that way. That could work on any platform, truthfully. And then the second one I always say is to go, well, then the other 2, I guess they could really have it anywhere. But one, I say focus more on your professional life and focus one more on your personal life. Because if within 3 videos, you can tell people everything about yourself, show some of the work that you've done, show some of the things that you do in your spare time. Maybe you're a huge fitness junkie. Maybe you work as a business executive or personal assistant. If you can show those things, then within 3 videos, everybody from that first video is already engaged, and they're going to be able to see more about you to know whether they want to obviously stay engaged or not, but it'll just help really kind of drive those points home, so that then moving forward, as you create the stuff that then I say even after that you want to build presence first, build I guess I'll label it as business trust second. So really nail home why people can trust you and hire you and stuff. And then thirdly is you want to sell yourself and actually do the selling. Because if you come in and your first few videos are hey, buy this course, nobody's going to stick around. But if you get that rapport and you get people to understand why they're invested in you as a person, and then you start to build that, business rapport of hey, this is a skill that I have. Here's why I'm really good at what I do. Then you can therefore go, you've built the network, you've built the rapport with them. Then you can go and do the selling.
Yeah. Well, and speaking about selling, I would be remiss if I didn't share some of the things that we're doing with you, because I know that you may have not seen some of the new stuff that we've just recently pushed out, but I know that you certainly haven't seen the stuff that we're building. So I would love to get your first reaction on if you had the ability to go through your entire video content library and just create these snackable clips that you could push out into LinkedIn, searching keywords or searching maybe a topic that you want to talk about. How valuable would that be for you as a video content creator?
I think that'd be immensely powerful for me personally, because then if there's something where I, even just a funny moment or a, sometimes I like to, spark a little fire when I hear a new camera release or something. So if I want to go back and pull that off, if I was just totally wrong or totally right, maybe chances are wrong, but you never know. I can go and I can pull that. Or even if it's something where you upload an entire presentation or speech, you can go and potentially even find a specific bit that you want to use as micro content. I think that would be incredibly valuable asset for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, I know that you have been a massive supporter of Quick for a long time. And we've always been very thankful for all of the insight and value you've given us into this workflow in this industry. And if anyone's watching this online after it's been live, make sure you check out in the description. We're going to put Eric's affiliate link up here so that if you are interested in trying out Quick and you want to jump in and see how you can have your content captioned and transcribed, but also be able to search through all of that content, because that's the real power is, can I find what I said, a year ago?
Right.
Remember even what video file that's in.
Yeah.
So,
and I think too, like for my own use case, it's great because I like to batch record as much as I can. Yeah. So for me to be able to just dump all of these videos on, come back when I have spare time to then, fix whatever punctuation or whatever, and then just it's ready and I can just post it. It's just incredible and super valuable. So that's my number one use case, at least.
Yeah. So as we continue to build out some of the new stuff, I'll make sure that we get to show you some of the new updates that we've got. I was working on a lot of the designs last night, and it's going to be pretty fun. It's going to be pretty powerful. So maybe you just need to stick around after the live, and I can show you some of that.
You got it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Eric, for being on today. Dids, it's always a pleasure. What are 3 things that you would like everybody who watches this to do to inspire or educate those around them?
Number 1 is go be healthy today, whether that's taking a vitamin D pill, going out and getting some natural vitamin D. Just go do something healthy for yourself. Take a step out of your day and just do something for yourself. Drink a little bit more water today. Don't drink an extra Diet Coke, whatever that looks like. Just do something healthy for you. You'll thank me tomorrow. Secondly, I think just doing something, plan something for your future. Because I think if you have that I think is my personal biggest struggle, because I'm very future oriented, but very like short term. So for me, my struggle is always building out longer term goals, because I like to see the steps as they develop before I like to develop the longer term goals, because I don't like personally, I just want to know, okay, is the road leading this direction and not that direction that I was goal setting for, but it is important. So set some goals. Then just record that first video. I think just go out, do that thing, just 30 seconds. Who are you? What are you about? What do you do? Post it. If you've already done tons of social content, still, I think I like to do that every so often. And I like to find different creative ways to do it, but I think just you're always getting a new audience. So even if you've done a lot of content, go out there and, explain to the new people watching your content who you are and why you do what you do.
Absolutely. And if people want to find more about you or Media Bolt Productions, what's the best place for them to find that?
Yeah, so for me, it's Dids Live on all platforms, DIDSLIVE, or MediaBoltProductions.com for all of my business stuff. We're got a lot to update, but a lot that we're still holding on, waiting for our clients to post first. So a lot of fun stuff in the works, and we're excited to share a lot of what we're working on here soon.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dids. And everyone who's watching this, thank you for making it to the end. There's been some incredible moments here that we'll be clipping up and captioning for you guys to ingest. So if you catch a little clip on LinkedIn or Instagram, and you want to come back and watch this whole thing, there's a lot of great content here. Thank you for tuning in live. We're excited to announce that if you are just wanting to try out Quick for the first time, you haven't heard about it, you haven't used it yet, you can go to quick.io and use Eric's link in the description below to sign up for a free account. And you get to try it out. You get to see how you could search through your entire library of video content for free. And then if you want to become a Quick Pro member, we just expand the ability for you to do that across more of your content. So thank you so much, Dids. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I look forward to seeing you again next time.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right. See you, everybody.